Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and we are proudly sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. We're also sponsored by V&B Auto Centres. If you call them when you need your MOT done, they're based at Answorth, they will knock you 50% off your MOT. I'm counting the days till my MOT is due for that fantastic deal. So thank you to them. This is also going to be sort of blended into a Luton warm-up as well as a Swansea reaction. So I can thank Triple Point as well, because we were there before Swansea. We will be very late, by the way, after all that traffic, but we will be there in plenty of time for Luton. It did mean I missed Michael Brown in the fan zone. If anybody stopped him for any chance and said, "Do you fancy going on Ramble, pal?" then let me know, because he's more than welcome. But, right, let's get to it then. So we've got a lot to get through. We've got a lot of callers lined up ready. So thank you to everybody that's participating tonight. Got some comments to go through. But as usual, I just want to sort of empty what's in here about Swansea. And then we'll talk about Luton a little bit later. But last night, first things first, lineup comes out. And I'm a little bit... I understand it. I think, and we don't know, do we? All we're doing is assuming. So Wilder knows best, and whatever I am about to say is fully in the knowledge that we are now 8th unbeaten. So I'm in a fantastic mood about it. I'm no longer questioning all these things about. I know people may come on and talk about it, and we can do. We can talk about whatever you want, because this is a platform for everybody to have their say and have their own opinions. But for me, it's all positive. But when that team came out, I thought, oh, he's obviously got half an eye on Saturday for Luton, because not that we were underselling Swansea at all, but he bigged up Kiefer Moore massively in the week to try and sort of defend. I think it were a Danny Hall question in presser, where he snapped back a little bit and said, ask Alfie Gilchrist, ask so-and-so what they think about playing with Kiefer Moore. Ask Callum O'Hare, ask all lads, basically just wind it in, because Kiefer Moore's a great player for us. You'd expect a manager to back his man anyway. And obviously, you know my thoughts on that. I think Kiefer Moore's done everything that's expected of him, apart from maybe bag the odd one or two more. So I'm a big fan of Kiefer. But he dropped Kiefer, brought in Ty Campbell, first start. Okay, people have been asking to see him. Let's see what he can do. He dropped Raksaki, who'd had his best game, I thought, against... was it against Pompey? Yeah, it must have been against Pompey. It certainly looked very lively, and then when he went off, it sort of negated our threat a little bit. So to start Brooks, I were a little bit surprised about. And then he's not started Gilchrist, and I'm surprised, and I think a few of us talked about this. It might have been Clarkey who originally raised it, and we can maybe have a chat about that, but I thought it'd probably be Sariki if Brooks is in the side, because they sort of complement each other with Brooks doing a little bit more defensive duties. People, including myself, have been crying out for Brooks to come in and be given a chance, because I don't think he's done enough to lose his shirt, if you like. And then you'd think Sariki would come in, because he's the more attack-minded fullback that we've got. Has been coming on for Gilchrist. But no, it was Shackleton. Shackleton lined up there. And to be fair, I thought he did a very good job. Not amazing, but I thought it was solid. No problems at all with Shackleton. I was quite pleased with his performance, to be honest. I still think when we made the substitutions in second half, you could see the step up in level. And I'll come on to that in a little bit. But again, that first half yesterday were really poor. I try not to take anything away from Swansea. I thought they were solid. We knew they're a possession-based team. We know they'd have a lot of the ball. I didn't think they did an awful lot with it, but we certainly didn't penetrate them at all first half. I thought we looked quite toothless, to be honest, and a little bit disjointed. Brooks weren't doing it for me yesterday, and this is one performance, so I'm certainly not all right, I'm off Brooks now, blah, blah, blah. But people will say in the comments, I'm sure, and I've had it, that's why Raksaki should have started. You've been calling for, I saw it on Twitter this morning. People have been calling for Brooks. Well, now they can, blah, blah, blah. They can stick the cake hole, shut the cake hole or whatever it was. Well, he could have just as easily had a stormer last night and sort of proved his case. The flip side of that is people have been calling for Ty Campbell and or Brewster to start. And I thought Ty Campbell did okay. Missed a couple of chances that I thought he could have put away. But I thought when Kiefer Moore came on, levels went up. And I think there was a clear difference in quality. I think he made a bit of a difference. Well, a big difference, to be honest, Kiefer Moore, in terms of leading the line. And I think if we're going to say, well, Brooks it proved you wrong about Brooks because, he didn't do great yesterday. I could then throw back, well, it proved you right about Campbell because Moore's levels above. It's not about any of that, is it? It's not about I were right, he were wrong, because some people will see it their own way anyway, and that's fair, and that's all right, and that's absolutely fine. But like, we're on the way back in car, and my dad's saying, you see, how can nobody now say that Moore's not the main man, the main striker and stuff? I said, this is just our opinion, though. And he agrees. I'm not telling him what he doesn't know. But for us, it's clear Moore is our starting striker. Others will still see different. I've seen a comment already tonight. Beast Boy starts us off. Evening, Jimmy thought Brewster looked great when he came on. I know I sound like a broken record, but he has to start. I thought Brewster looked lively. I thought he looked sharp. But did he have a shot on target? I'm not sure he did. I know Kiefer Moore at the post, so technically he didn't have a shot on target either. But I don't mind, to be honest. And we all want to have, if we all had the same opinion, it'd be boring. But for me, I don't think Brewster did enough to say I need the shirt over Moore. I think Kiefer Moore has solidified himself for me as the main striker. I thought Gilchrist looked really good when he came on. Michael Cooper is the best signing of the summer, closely followed by Harrison Burrows. In fact, closely followed by a lot of them, because Harrison Burrows I thought were great yesterday. I thought Gus were quite quiet and sometimes disappointing with a few of his touches. He's not going to be bang on every game. We don't expect him to be. If he was, he wouldn't be playing for Sheffield United. We all know these sort of things that we talk about. Callum O'Hare, again, were quiet. And that's maybe something we can look at, maybe something we talk about in terms of do we now maybe consider a 2 up top, or do we stick with, again, we're slipping into that mindset of picking, because we won the game. It wasn't convincing, but we won the game. We got a 5th clean sheet in a row. We are the team that conceded the record most Premier League goals. Man Mountain had to really smack some life back into me the other day. Say we were laughing on Three Mardy Blades, saying we conceded the record number of goals last season, and yesterday we went 5 clean sheets in a row. What are we complaining about, really? So we are splitting hairs. Whatever we're talking about in terms of upping the levels, I get that. But I know Jack. In fact, I'm going to bring Jack on one at first ones, because I know we'll talk about what Jack were raising in chat and stuff like that in terms of I want to feel more comfortable watching United. Maybe that's an age thing, Jack. We'll come to that, pal. That might never happen, pal. But Mr. V also says, good evening, Jimmy. After watching the extended highlights of last night's game, I've come to the conclusion that we were unlucky not to win 3 or 4-0. My initial judgment was clouded by the first. Yeah, to be honest, it were a game of 2 halves yesterday. It's an old cliche, but it's true. We couldn't hit a barn door first half. We couldn't get anywhere near the barn in first half. Second half, we hit the bar, we hit the post. Tyrese Campbell should have had at least 1, if not 2. Kiefer Moore, I thought, were unlucky with his. And yeah, I would say that, I suppose, if I'm on the Moore train. But it's it could have been a lot more comfortable. And Mr. V, something when I was trying to get some reaction from Swansea side of it, because I sometimes, especially when we've won, I like to hit opposing managers. So I went for Luke on the Swansea YouTube page for Luke Williams' reaction, and they're playing the full highlights of the full game. Sorry, I said highlights. They're playing the full replay of the game on their YouTube channel. If anybody's not seen it and wants to watch the full thing, it's on there. Onwards and upwards. Enough said. Blades Ramble, absolutely. Says Daz. Half performance was there, was zero quality in our passing and forward-thinking play. But overall, how can we be disappointed with our 5 clean sheets in a row and still undefeated? Happy as a pig in muck. Jack says, yesterday performance was lacking in a lot of areas, in my opinion. Very unlucky not to score more, but passing was way off. David says, evening, Jimmy, in my opinion, a win is a win. We can't be expected to be good every game, but we need to start taking our chances. We do. Great tribute to one of our own. Absolutely, it was by the amazing Blades fans. So emotional. Love to Johnny Gascoigne. Like and subscribe. Up the Ramble, up the Blade. Yeah, we're brilliant. On the 50th minute, we're a standing ovation for Johnny. Applause all the way around the ground. He's a Blade and he's a Blade booming out. It were a very emotional moment. And somebody put in our chat, actually, it seemed like they upped their levels after that round of applause. And you know, even if it had an ounce of something in upping performance levels, it's nice to think into it. So yeah, that one for you, Johnny. Blazeman from the lane says, need to stop giving away possession, especially to teams that play the possession game like Swansea. Moore was outstanding when he entered the game. Up the Blades. I thought he did really well. The pencil Tash Gimp says, lucky lot. Get a goal gifted to you on a plate. Need investigating for match fixing. I'm off to trim my Tash. Okay. Thank you for that, pal. They gave the ball away from the back multiple times and didn't create hardly any outlets to pass through midfield. But Swansea passed through us quite easily using triangles. Jack, is that you in the background? Is that your comment? Right, cool. We're going to bring you on and talk about it. Jack, how's it going, pal?
I'm good, Joe.
Yes, I'm good, mate. Thank you. I know it's your debut. Welcome to the Ramble. I promise it's not as scary as it looks. And sorry to bring you on first when it's your first time.
Hello? Oh.
So this thing, it's my mic. It's because I touched it. Never touch your microphone. That's first rule. My back. Does that sound better?
Yeah.
My back. Right, nice one. Sorry, pal. So, yes, I was really interested in your perspective in the chat because I don't think you'll be alone. And I'm not going to steal your thunder, but basically you tell me in more words, but you were basically saying you want to feel a little bit more comfortable watching us, don't you? And why are people okay with the performances as they are? And I think it's a genuine question, but over to you, mate.
I think it's like from last season, we were expecting, like every time we're expecting, like, you know, to either draw or lose. So this season, I'm thinking we need to be looking higher. Like we say we've got a cheat code in midfield, but we're not seeing it yet, in my opinion. I know we've lost our blaster, but still, I think the passing is quite sloppy still.
Yeah, I think our blaster's a bigger loss than we realised. I think that's fair, and I think a few have said it as well. I don't know whether we're just asking a little bit much, Jack, to be fair, in terms of the new team gelling together. I think we're quite fortunate that things are going as well as they are because if they weren't, I think it could be a little bit, you know, uncomfortable, shall I say? You know, if we were sitting mid-table now.
Yeah, I think last night we saw the new team. In my opinion, I think that's the first performance where we saw actually this is a new team, and we saw like we were playing out front back, and they just couldn't get out. They were just passing passes to Swansea players, and it was just like, did you even look or did you just pass it?
It were a little bit disjointed, weren't it? And I think that were maybe because of the changes. I don't know, and I think that's an easy thing to throw out there that, you know, Shackleton coming in who was a bit rusty, and Tyrese Campbell and Brooks, who hasn't had a lot of football since he's been injured. It's an easy thing to say, but I don't know. I think we are a little bit harsh in terms of what we expect from a brand new team, particularly when the results have been as good as they have been. I think you're right. There's what's happened when we've chosen clearly to bring in quality over quantity. And so beneath that first 11 isn't the greatest of depth. I think Shackleton's an able deputy. I think he showed that last night. I think Ty Campbell, once he gets up to speed, will be okay. I'm not concerned about these players in that respect, but just think they come with a strong reputation, a lot of these players. Callum O'Hare, we were saying on Three Mardy Blades earlier in the week, he was like the Hollywood signing that people, I think, automatically expected he's going to create all these chances. And it's a lot. It's a lot for him, you know, because we know he's a good player at Championship level. He showed it at Coventry, but he's not really been a game changer for us yet. And Gus's output's been brilliant, but I think he's flattered to deceive at times, and goes missing in games for little spells. We haven't quite found the consistency yet, but I think when we do, we're going to be very dangerous. So to be picking up results when we're probably not playing at full tilt, I think is really good for us. And I think that's why some of us, not all of us, but some of us can sort of see a bit of a bigger picture in terms of, all right, well, it's not perfect at the minute, but for what we're working with, it's best we can hope for, I think. And that's what sort of calms me down, certainly, anyway. I don't know if, you watching might be a bit more nervous thinking, oh, well, if we're not doing this to Swansea, we've got Luton at weekend and then Leeds after that. I get it. We haven't really had that bigger test yet, I don't think.
I think our defence, I think what they've done, I think it's amazing. I think from conceding, I used to close my eyes every time they used to come to our box. I used to turn away, but now I'm just thinking, oh, they've got it. I love watching them run back. But I think yesterday, I think passing from the back, it was just disjointed. I didn't think they were communicating with each other. I think Anel wasn't listening to Cooper or stuff like that. They just didn't seem to calm down. From what I saw, it's like they were looking at each other like, well, I just kicked it behind when Cooper came to get it. But that save Cooper did when it deflected through wall, that were a quality save again.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
He's good at reacting. He's really good. I think he's probably the best keeper I've seen.
You don't have to convince me on old Mike Cooper. I don't think you need to convince Man Mountain either. I think he's got a bit of a soft spot for it. But
I think,
go on. Sorry, mate.
I think as well they were giving unnecessary fouls away. Sousa, I think he gave like 3 fouls away, and he could see it on his face. He was frustrated. He was just like, again.
I don't think we helped ourselves, but I do think they were going down. And that I have to say, and I'm not a big one for calling refs because I think it's harsh, but I thought you were appalling last night. I know one of our top ramblers, Gaz, is in that sort of world. I'm not going to sort of put a marker on it, but so I always try and Gaz is great at giving feedback and sort of letting us know from referee standpoint why we might not always see something that they do. But I couldn't see anything yesterday that I thought he lost control. I thought he didn't. At one point, when he picks up ball and gives us a drop ball when they'd had possession, and it was just all over the place.
Yeah.
So I thought he was poor yesterday, that ref. But yeah, I didn't really see much of I saw Sousa give the ball away a couple of times, which I thought were a bit sloppy from him. I didn't think it was his best performance yesterday, but then in the air, he's unbeatable. And
yeah,
I think once we have like 10, 15 games under his belt, we're going to be a real force. I certainly like to think so. Maybe it's just glass half full mentality, but it's nice to actually have that thought process when it comes to Sheffield United after such a terrible season last year. So
I do think it's coming. I thought Moore were really unlucky yesterday. He did. Swansea player were dragging him, and he still ran away and trusted him to hit post. It just shows like what's happening up front. I were right unlucky. It would have been a right goal. But and then
you've got that side,
would have been complaining. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got that side of you thinking, oh well, it's coming. But then you've got, oh well, Anel and Cooper out talking to each other, and it panics. Yeah. It panics stations sometimes, isn't it? So how are you feeling going into Luton? And I'm not necessarily going to focus too much on that at the minute, but were you saying what you said about Swansea? What's your thoughts on Luton? Would you change it up a little bit? We've got to remember that Vinny and Gus are both on yellow cards. So, if they get one more yellow card, they miss the next game. So that if they got booked at Luton, they miss Leeds. What are you changing anything? Are you confident going into Luton?
I think we need more up front because I think he just halts ball up really good. I think second half, as soon as he came on, he had a defender near him and he just brought ball down and passed it. That's it. They were in straight away. But I honestly, I couldn't tell you. Because I think if we change it, who do we put in midfield? I wouldn't know. Or on left, I think we could bring Brooks on to. I think he had an off night. I think he slowed the attacking down a little bit, but I think he could, with the way Luton are right now, I think Brooks could have a really good game against them.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I agree. We've seen Brooks do it before this season, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he got a silly yellow card because he was frustrated because he got passed around him. I think that's just they just weren't talking to each other, so he just legged someone up. From what I remember, I think it was very silly. I think Sousa's lucky to not have a yellow card with that referee because he did 3 fouls in a row. Even if they weren't fouls, normally that's a yellow card.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true. Just accumulation.
I think with the formation, I think with Campbell, I was surprised to see him solo striking. I think we didn't see the most out of him because I feel like they tried to play him like he was more, being able to get these balls up in air and bring it down when he's more of a speedster.
Okay. So you think it's either you utilise him differently in terms of the way you work the ball into the box, or you put somebody alongside him maybe. So
yeah, I think Moore and Campbell alongside each other would be really good because Moore can bring ball down and play Campbell.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Is that me? Sorry.
That's all right.
So internet's not very good.
No, it's okay, mate. Are you in Turkey?
Yeah, I'm still in Turkey. I fly home on Saturday.
Oh, nice, mate. You having your teeth done?
No, never.
Just air, as I see. So that's all right. Yeah, that's good.
But I think
commitment that
Moore
mate.
would work well alongside Campbell. I think they play off each other quite well.
So you're dropping O'Hare?
Yeah, I think right now.
Big call, but
really
people are saying it as well. People are saying
I think it's a new team, so why not try new things? While we're still below 10 games to try new things, we're unbeaten. If it works, it works.
Mm-hmm. He did try 3 changes. I didn't think it particularly worked, to be honest. The counter to it obviously is we're unbeaten, so why are we changing it? That would be the counter argument to it, isn't it? So I
think that ball that Burrows did in box, if O'Hare were tall enough, it would have been his goal, not the Swansea player. I bet he were kicking himself after that one because it were a right strike.
Well, yeah. Well, bless him.
Just did wrong. It's just, but again, who's in box? O'Hare, smallest player.
I know. But
I think I saw Campbell running in, but no one there. But I think if Moore were there, that would have been a perfect sit for him.
Yeah, agreed. Right, I'll let you get off, Jack, because I didn't realise you were away, pal. So I'll let you get back to your air appointment or whatever it is that you're going for in Turkey. And I will see you soon, pal. All right, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, pal.
Yeah, bud. Bye. Nice one, Jack. Thank you for coming on for your first call, pal. I'm going to bring in some more Ramble royalty that hasn't been on for a while, actually. And I'm going to get him before he ducks off. And it is Mr. Clark. How's it going, Clark, eh?
I'm all right, mate. This is my first cap, mate.
It's fit well. It isn't it in. You've been in recorded, protected environment where you make me do final edit first. Send me this. You don't. My dad does. My dad used to do that. Send me it before you put it out so I can see what you're doing. All right, okay. So yes, first live one, is it, Clarky? I didn't realise that, mate.
It is, mate, yeah. And I've got a load of notes I've made and you've covered every one of them.
I like to steal all your lines, mate. So it makes me sound clever, and then you come on and can't send out. So no, go on, mate. What you got for us?
Well, not a lot more than you've already had. And Jack's added there. I just a couple of things. 66% possession, 1 shot on target. That's Swansea last night. Now, it might be age, but I never feel under pressure. I never feel uncomfortable unless we're winning. That's the point at which I start getting uneasy because you're throwing away 2 points instead of just 1. That's probably what it is. I don't know. But a lot of running around, a lot of moving the ball. They were a decent side, I thought. As far as it goes, I've been to Ramble Lane, probably the best side I've seen this season, first half. We couldn't get very close to them.
No, we couldn't.
But I think that's partly to do with we were off it a little bit as well. Excuse me.
And like you said, they didn't really trouble us much, did they? As much as they had possession and dominated the ball, they didn't trouble us much, which is it goes back to what it's all right having possession and keeping possession along your back line and passing to your fullbacks and passing to your centre half. What does it mean in end if you're not creating chances?
Absolutely, and to go back to the point that you made about the changes, Yeah, I mean, it's probably to rest them, but I wonder how much of it. I do overthink things sometimes, but I wonder Wyler's looked at that and thought, look, we know we're going to be running around a lot. We know they're going to have the ball. We know we're going to get tired out. However, they're going to get tired too. And actually, I think it was about half an hour in, they took a rest for 10 minutes.
Yeah, they did.
And
yeah, they did.
What, 10, 15 minutes into the second half, the energy had gone. We made our substitutions. Nice to see an actual United side get strengthened off the bench.
It was, yeah, it was.
Yeah. And actually, at that point, we had 2-3 chances that we ought to have buried, and would have been laughing.
Yeah, it's a totally different game then, isn't it? I think the thing that frustrated me yesterday in first half, Clarky, what lack of press. I didn't think we pressed them close enough at all. I know that we expected them to have possession. We were quite happy for them to have possession in their own half and sort of just coming over halfway line. But normally we're a really high pressing team, and I just didn't think the energy were there last night. So when Moore came on and ran at them, and then O'Hare joins in the press as well, and it's like, this is more like it. Yes, they're starting to tire a little bit, and I know they like to play passing football, but it don't mean that they're best passers in division. It don't mean like they suddenly turn into Barcelona just because that's the style they like to play. Press them and see what we can get out of this, because we start to get a bit of joy once we put that high press back in play. That's how I saw it. Anyway.
Because, well, same thing. I think because we lacked that energy, it was flat on the pitch. That effervesced into the crowd as well. I thought it was very quiet last night and up until the 50th.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And I'd also give some credit to their press. And we're pressing in ones when we are pressing, and they're doing 2s and 3s, and we found that very difficult.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, they worked hard. I thought they looked well, Swansea, yesterday. And we sort of lose focus on that sometimes when we're over-analysing our own performance. But Swansea came up and did well. And teams are going to do that. We're starting to build a reputation as being strong this season because we're 8 unbeaten now, 5 wins. People will think we've got to turn up and give us a game at Bramall Lane, and they'll start to, play. It'll start to become the place to go and outperform yourself, really, if you're going to get something.
They'll play good sides this season and beat them, no doubt.
Yeah, they will.
I mean, we've talked about this before, though, and the one thing that is concerning, and look, I don't care who sticks the ball in the back of the net, as long as somebody's sticking and everybody's contributing, and I'm not a more distracted at all. I like the fella. I think he works hard and he brings a lot to the table. But somebody's got to stick it in the back of the net. And at the moment, if you statistically look at it, we've played 8 games, we've had 5 clean sheets, we've conceded 3 goals, but we've only got a goal difference of +7.
Yeah.
So you can't keep winning games 1-0. At some point, somebody's going to score a goal, then we've got to score twice.
That's right. I mean, but everything's inevitable, isn't it? We're going to lose at some stage, and it'll probably come. And the more we win and the more we draw, the less we expect to lose. So the more of a, oh God, what a letdown it feels like when you do. So we know that there's a couple of bumps coming around the corner, but you're right. I think we do have to step his game up in the finishing stakes. But are we being too fussy, mate? Are we being too fussy with what we've got at minute? I
will go the entire season winning 1-0 if they can do that. But like you've just said, law of averages just says that isn't going to happen. So we're going to have to at some point start and find somebody to find it back of the net at some point.
Yeah.
Another thing last night was nice. There was a bit of in-game variation. I thought it changed it up a little bit. Wilder often doesn't have a plan B. This season it's been stick. Hey, I love him as much as you, but that's a criticism. I know it is. I know. He's sticking Brewster in at number 10 this season, isn't he? Yeah, but he changed it last night. When it comes to January, when you've played everybody once, they know how you play. That's the point at which most sides have to look at. Right, we perhaps need to find a different way of playing. Maybe that's something we need to start looking at now. I was talking to Dave last night saying, I'd like to see, in game, perhaps go into a 3. We're used to that. We know how to do it. The squad's flexible enough. Get Siriki on it right side. Get Burrows on and do what Wilder Mark 1 does. When we're winning, shove Ender and George 20 yards further up the pitch. Get them going backwards.
Get David on next to an L. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Get 3 at the back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
like
whether
it.
that's 2 up top with 1 behind, or even the old Burger and Jive formation with Amer and O'Hare sat behind more.
Love it. Running beyond.
Just to change it up a little bit, because you're going to need that at some point.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we've got the ability in the squad to do that, haven't we? We've got the flexibility, and it's something that Man Mountain talks about a lot, is in terms of we might not have the numbers, but that we've got the personnel to be flexible. So it's always an interesting one. Yeah. So you're not worried. Do you change it for Luton then, Clarky?
Do you know, I look at that and think, what do you want out of the next 2 games? I'm happy with 4 points out of the next 2 games. Which is the most winnable out of them? I think it's Luton. Therefore, I'm happy. When it's a change it up, I'm going back to not last night's side, the regular team.
Yeah, you're going to original that we've started with last 3 or 4 games prior to last night. Okay.
And then you know, we treat Leeds on its merits when it comes round to it. Try and get 3 points in your next game.
I'm the same. So you risk the yellow card ban, which is going to come at some stage for both of them, I think, because it's too soon to lose it.
Yeah, it's got to happen, hasn't it?
Yeah, so you'd risk it at Luton. Yeah, I would too. I think you play your strongest side against Luton, and then hope that they come through it for Leeds, and we'll worry about that close to the time. But
exactly,
yes, mate,
one game at a time.
Anything else you want to go over, pal, while we're together?
No, nothing particularly, mate. Just a big shout out for Harry Suter more than anything else. I think that fella's been the difference in United's side.
Really?
He stepped into there, and
do you know what I think it's brilliant, pal? Is you could seriously make an argument for 3 or 4 of them, different players that have been the difference. So, like, I would argue that Cooper's the difference, which I can put a good argument forward for. You can quite rightly come back at me and say, I think Harry Suter's actually been the difference, because that he's levelled up our defence, and 5 clean sheets speaks for itself, doesn't it? So whether you put it down to Suter, Cooper, bit of both. Some will say Harrison Burrows, because of the way he's come on and just got better game after game. I don't think Gilchrist let us down at all. I think it's been the recruitment has been, well, I think it's pulling through now in terms of the results in how well we've done in the summer.
Absolutely, and you know, my thoughts there really around. No one's talking about an L playing poorly anymore, are they? Because
no, they're not.
Suter's making him look like a player he is.
He looks confident again. He's carrying the ball forward, looks a level above when he's got a bit of confidence about him. It's great to see, to be honest. It's great to see.
And the misnomer about Suter being slow as well, he's got legs like a giraffe. He covers ground. Twice the speed of likes of O'Hare, whose legs shift double the pace. So no, he's not slow. It's the speed he covers the ground that's important.
I don't think he's slow. I think he can't turn, but I think he's
I agree.
Turning's an issue. But you're right. In his 3 steps and he's on halfway line, so it's he don't have to run that fast, does he? Because he's big enough. So
not at all, mate.
Clarky, thank you very much, pal. I love having you on.
I'm glad.
You're welcome back anytime. All right, pal.
Cheers, buddy. I'll see you the weekend.
See you Saturday. See you will. See you a bit. Ta-ra. Thank you, Clarky. I know we've still got some more waiting backstage. Very patiently, gentlemen. Thank you. But I'm going to get into a few more comments. Ian, good evening, pal. The gatekeeper of the Ramble. Evening, Jimmy. Are we becoming a bit entitled? Good question. And I'll pull that to our next caller. Can't expect to blow every team away in this league. My prediction for Luton is 4-0. Are we becoming entitled? My prediction for Luton is 4-0 Blades. Brewster to bag 2 from the bench. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Ian, that is the most contradictory comment I've ever read in my life. Love you, pal. That's brilliant. Don't understand why some fans have a go at Big Kiefer, says Ray. Championship defenders are terrified of him. They just don't see the input he puts in. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. I did say to my dad yesterday when he's coming on, you wouldn't want to be a Cabango or Darling, would you? Harry Darling. You wouldn't want to be either of them watching Big Kiefer come on. It must be a nightmare to play against. Evening, says Holly. I can see you, pal, in the chat. We'll get you on shortly, pal. Evening, fellow Ramblers. Also, Brewster put a shift in when he came on. Another one who will improve. Sounds daft after the time he's been here, but he's looking good, says Ray. I don't think it sounds daft at all, pal. I thought he looked sharp yesterday. The thing with Brewster is he can't stay fit. If he can stay fit, then he's every chance of picking up a bit of momentum. I'm certainly not on the. I'd love him to do well. I think we all would. Brad, I'm not going to be like Ian, who thinks he's going to go on and bag 15 goals this season. But there's certainly a player in there if he can stay fit. Dyson Fury says Gruev, Ampadu, Voba, James, Solomon, Schmidt, all injured for Leeds. They'll be fielding the under-18s when we roll in. Right, I didn't realise they were all out. Having said that, I thought there were a fair few out for Luton, and I've just done a quick bit with another podcast before I came on, and they were saying that Mengi's actually fit. Chong might miss out through concussion protocol, but Mengi's fit, who I thought were going to be out because he went out at Plymouth. But he will be back in for the next game. In Wilder we trust, says JC. Absolutely right, we do. Evening, pal, says Liam. And evening, all. I'm at work, pal, so I'll be on after the Luton game, mate. I just don't. Oh, hang on. What's your comment there? I just don't understand when Ryan enters the pitch why we don't go 2 up top instead of putting him in at number 10. And how is Campbell in ahead of Brewster starting? Again, I think you've got to get manager benefit of doubt with that. Again, we're talking about a game we won. That's point one, isn't it? We won. We can't forget that. We 1-0. Another clean sheet. So that would be Wilder's first argument back. Don't matter who scores. It obviously came off their player this time. I thought Brewster looked sharp when he came on, and I thought he played a lot closer to the striker than just in a traditional 10. I think he was more a 10 out of possession and liked to push up when we were in possession. So we were a little bit fluid like that. So I don't know. He sees the training ground. He knows who's looking sharp. He knows if Kiefer Moore's tiring a little bit. I don't know whether it were just to say, all right, well, everybody's been calling for it. Let's see. I certainly thought there were a big difference in levels when Kiefer Moore came on. Poor performance, says Chris, but good 3 points is great. And the great applause for Johnny Gascoigne and the Swansea fans. Well done. Thank you, mate. Joking aside, I think Brewster looks stronger and sharper with every game. I think given a bit longer than 25 minutes, we'll see his true value. Was excellent against Luton when he came on. A rest for O'Hare, maybe. Interesting, pal. I wouldn't mind that, Ian, says Mr. V. He's not dropping players. He's keeping them on their toes. Yeah, swing the pig. That's not a bad shout, actually. I think you're right, Ian. Hayman's playing the 10, says Rob. O'Hare underperformed this season. Burrows wide left. Sam McCallum left back. Interesting. So a few calling to mix it up. Mark says, evening, Jimmy, disjointed first half and better second half. Should have scored at least 2 or 3. Much better when Moore came on. I'm not too worried. We're creating chances and the goals will come. 8 unbeaten. Well said, pal. Chris Smith says, evening, Jim. Thought we were very disciplined at the back and think Chris had them not playing to Swansea's game plan. Second half, we pushed up a little more, which made us look better. Burrows, man of the match for me last night, says Mark. Brewster and Kiefer as a top 2, says Cowboy Paul Young. Fair shout. Some calling for that. Hi, Jim. I think O'Hare needs a rest desperately. I think Heyman needs to be more central with my Brooks or Brewster on the left. That's off to Swansea fans for the respect they showed on the 50th minute. Absolutely right. Impeccably observed. Evening, Bobby. Hope you're well, pal. We're all with you, buddy. Mark says they wouldn't have scored if they carried on playing till now. They didn't pose much threat, did? And we've got Mike Cooper in net. So Will says, think more will show his true worth in the bigger games like Leeds, etc. Wouldn't mind seeing Brewster get his chance for O'Hare and Gus into the middle to give O'Hare a rest and see if Brewster is up to it. Maybe not this Saturday, though. Fair dues, pal. Fair dues. Right, we'll go to our next caller now. Let's see. We'll go Jamie. How's it going, pal?
Good, are you?
I'm very well, mate. Thank you. I'm very well. It's nice to see that you're becoming a regular on the channel. Very
well,
good.
I've got not much else to do, so.
Oh, wow. Thanks. Okay. It's nice to be an option. Anyway, mate, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Swansea? What were your thoughts on that starting 11? Were you worried? Were you cool with it? What did you think?
I mean, I was quite excited by the starting 11, to be fair. I wanted to see some kind of change. I did think it felt a bit like a cup lineup, but it was something that we wanted to see because you don't want the same 11 playing like for 10 games on road because then they get too comfy and it's just like you're thinking, come on, give these lot a chance, especially with his not scoring goals. He changed Paris Campbell, giving us another strike option to see how we can change the tempo of the game. and you bring in on someone else for Gilchrist being Shackleton, who will bomb it up the pitch. Not as much as Sir Ricky, but a lot more balanced, I'd say. And then you've also got Brooks, who, again, first half, he weren't great, but second half, he did look like his old self.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed in Brooks yesterday, I have to say. But again, it's one performance, and I don't want to sort of just tar everybody with that brush.
Still
but
20.
Say again, mate.
He's still 20. Like, he's still got a
lot he's a baby,
of
mate. Absolutely, he has. Absolutely. But I've been banging drum for Andrew. And to be honest, that's what you get with young players, isn't it? You get inconsistency. Yeah. We saw Peck didn't have the best performance after the Wrexham game, and then he's come back and he's got stronger since then, I think. So you are going to get a little bit of inconsistency in the side, but I were interested in those changes. Does it change your opinion on? I get what you're saying on the starting lineup. I think there's pros and cons to having a settled 11. You don't want them too settled. You don't want them comfortable thinking that the spots are assured. Did it change your opinion on like Kiefer Moore or Alfie Gilchrist or anybody like that actually, yeah, they're probably the better option? Or do you think it's good that we keep freshening things up?
I mean, you want your core squad to stay the same, like the goalkeepers, the centre halves, some of the centre mids, and we did keep that. You want at least half the squad to like be sort of settled so that we can build around them. Your best players being Suter, Anel, Cooper, Blast when he's back, Peck, Hamer. You want them kind of players to be settled.
Yeah, you do.
And I think when we did see Kiefer Moore and Gilchrist come on, you just saw, like, I've been slightly critical of Kiefer Moore, even though I have appreciated sometimes what he's done with his build-up play. But you could tell that it brought a whole new dynamic to the attack. Maybe not like the pacing behind or anything, but my God, he got players involved a hell of a lot more. Campbell weren't awful, don't get me wrong. He played okay,
I thought so.
Moore would just like, even though he didn't score, he just got that many players involved in the build-up. You had Brewster going around his man, just hitting it wide. He almost scored a worldy right shot. But Kiefer Moore can bring players into it. He's a very similar to Ollie Mack in the way he plays, but Ollie Mack's probably more of like hold up and then continue a bit further, whereas Kiefer Moore will like bring even the fullbacks involved, if you get me drift. Yeah.
I still think I'd like to see like Callum O'Hare run beyond maybe Gus or whoever's playing opposite side to Kiefer when he's got his back to goal. I also think Kiefer needs to be in and around the penalty spot when we're getting ball to the byline. I think there's still things like that needs to gel a little bit better. But you're right. I think we've got to have a squad as well that we're comfortable relying on. So if Campbell's not had any minutes and Kiefer Moore gets injured next game, then he's going to be cold, isn't he, coming into game, and you want him to be a little bit, to have greased the wheels a little bit. So what are you doing then, Jay, going into Luton? What are you doing with that team?
So, I mean, I'll be honest, Sousa, as good as he has been the start of the season, last two games, he's really disappointed me. So, I thought he looked decent against Pompey, but he lost it at the end of the game, and that's the last thing you want from the captain. I know Robbo will like that last season, but that was just something else. That's just a head loss altogether from the whole team. So you can sort of just excuse it with how bad it were. But he lost it. He had City Peck holding him back of all players. Someone that I think that
you
said
struggle when City Peck's calming you down, don't you?
Yeah, he gave away 3 bad tackles in the last 5 or 10 minutes that could have easily costed not just like the 3 points, not just like to get a draw. It could have literally costed the whole game, like conceded too late on. Now, luckily, we're all right at set pieces, but they were not good. And then that's his captain. He shouldn't be one conceding late on, potentially. No, he should be one that's at least playing the game under control. He's really disappointed me. And I wouldn't mind when Blaster gets back, keeping City Pecking, and then Blaster played more of a deeper role. Because we've seen it where he can run back and slide a tackle and late on. We've seen it quite a few times this season. So I would not mind.
If our Blaster's fit, you're dropping Vinny.
Yeah, honestly, City Peg.
Wow.
It weren't great first off, but neither will. No one were, to be fair. But honestly, apart from Borough's, but honestly, City Peck has really come on since Wrexham first proper game he played for us. He's really come on since, and he just
I agree.
Just honestly, it's like that. It's like Blaster last season. Was in the academy, went on loan to Port Vale, and then captain against Man United. It's like that kind of progression.
I know, unbelievable, isn't it? So, are you taking Vinny out, even if our Blaster's not fit this weekend?
Oh no, I think you've got to keep him in because I'm not relying on Jamie Shackleton at CDM as a starting DM. I'm not having that.
It'd be Peck and Hamer, wouldn't it, if Vinny's not available or he gets his second booking or whatever. Yeah. So,
to be fair,
just what do you do against Leeds? So,
I mean, I thought Callum Hare looked decent, very decent on left wing.
Yeah, he didn't do bad. I didn't think didn't do bad.
So if we're trying to get Gus in the 10, we can always put Gus there, no Hare on wing, just to try it out. Because he seemed to link up well with Burrows because he can make the little sporadic runs, and then Burrows can just go round him, and then
that's right. He can cut inside, can't he?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Yeah,
but I thought Rian looked good into up top, but he needs that link up play, otherwise he will just be stranded because he's not got the greatest shot on him, but he can get. It's like I think with Pompey, Pompey got dragged down to the floor and then got straight back up and played Siriki through, and then he got 2-footed. So I think Rian can be really good this season, but he needs that link up play.
Okay, mate. Okay,
but in regards to result wise, we will play better this season and lose.
Yeah, so that's true.
We will have really good games where we dominate, and then like a Plymouth or something, go up 85th minute, just score at the end.
I know. But to be honest, we all these 1-0, holding on to all these 1-0s. I'm thinking same, because we're so used to it as Blades. They're going to score. They're going to nick it. They're going to nick a draw here, and we've dominated second half. I could just see it, but it's been different this season, and it makes you think. You don't want to push your luck. We're riding our luck, I think, at minute in certain scenarios, but you don't want to push it too much. And like you said, I think we do have to step up a level going forward, particularly as the opposition gets tougher as well. Because obviously we haven't played Borough, West Brom. We go to Leeds in a couple of games. There's all these sort of teams in and around us now. Burnley with to play. So Stoke were won 6-1, who I wouldn't have been bothered about playing a couple of weeks ago. And now you think, well, after Luton, we've got Leeds, Borough and Stoke, I think, coming up, whichever order. So tricky fixtures to come, and I think we're going to have to up our levels. But we can't. I've got to keep putting it back in perspective, pal, because we're unbeaten in league. We've won 5 games. We'd be joint top. We would be joint top if we didn't have that point.
If Rome had lost, we would have been the only unbeaten team in the EFL, not just Championship. So
I know.
But I think it's just down to, because if you look at the stats from yesterday, I think Paul Cloud said it, they dominate possession, and I'm having a look at it now. They seem to dominate possession and passing. Everything else is in United's favour, shots on target. We hit the woodwork twice. They only had a shot on target once. They didn't even hit the post. And I think it were a comfortable save for Cooper. They seem to be decent at controlling ball, but they've got nothing up front. They had a great ball play through. None of his defenders picked up on it, and then just hit it wide. It almost went out for a throw-in. They've got
he looked offside. Yeah,
but
I know, I agree.
You say about playing decent sides. We played Watford when they hadn't lost to anyone, so we can beat decent sides. I think with it being midweek and the atmosphere being low, it could just be an off night potentially.
Hope so, mate. Hope so. Anything else you want to cover, pal, before I let you go?
I made no, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Good lad. Look at you coming prepared.
Oh, 2 things. So I noticed, I've seen a thing where it was saying about the lowest goals conceded per game. We are second from top behind Gillingham with 0.4.
Oh, in the EFL?
That, in the EFL, in the EFL, second from top.
That makes sense. We're at 5 clean sheets.
Championship.
Right,
only teams behind us are Burnley and Borough, and then Leeds.
Yeah, rubbish. They're all rubbish then.
Exactly. And just one final thing I wanted to cover. We said about potentially being too stuck on the 4-2-3-1. Notice when R&D came on, we went back to the 5-3-2. Just for a bit more defensive solidity. But
Are you
I like
sure?
it. I'm sure,
Are you
because
sure?
when they were coming on the counter-attack, I saw Gilchrist, Anel, Suter, R&D, Burrows, all in a 5. Honestly.
I
And then I saw
thought
the 3 in the midfield, and then I couldn't see where the strikers were. But that looked like a 5-3-2. That looked like we were trying to
I've
keep
missed that then.
the old ways alive.
I thought when Reece came on, Burrows went into the left wing position and
That
kept
might
our
have just been
shape.
attacking, but defensively, he then might have
Maybe
said,
so, pal.
"Not back."
Yeah, maybe so. And it works, doesn't it? It works that if you wanted to slip into a 3 at the back, like Clarky was saying, and drop your 2 wing backs in, that's right. That works for us, doesn't it? We've got the players to do that now. So yeah, love it. Nice one, Jay. Thank you for your time, pal. Are you at game on Saturday?
I am, and I'm hoping to get Borough tickets because I never had a chance to get in Leeds tickets.
No, I know you went in ballot, didn't you? But it's
just nothing.
Like gold dust then, mate, I think. So you have to join us for watch along.
Yeah.
All right then, pal. Thanks for calling. See you soon.
Cheers, bye.
Cheers, mate. See you soon. Nice one, Jamie. Top man. And the man who gives me beard envy next. So that's not Man Mountain. Certainly not Dave Leary. It is Scotty. How's it going,
Hello,
pal?
mate.
How's it going?
All right, mate. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. What is it you want to talk about tonight?
Oh, well, just good to regroup on the match yesterday. I think a lot's been covered already, to be honest. I think we all know it was probably our poorest first half we've played so far this season. Definitely weren't at the races. A lot of misplaced passes. But I agree with Clarky. I thought Swansea were very impressive under their new gaffer. They're looking quite sharp. They played some really decent football. I can't remember his name. That Korean lad that they've got. He looked very bright.
Yeah, he did. He looked good. Yeah,
yeah.
Number 10.
And their was it Vigouroux, their keeper? He looked quite
played
good.
well.
He made a couple of decent saves. But yeah, look, we're not going to play fantastic every week, and we need to. And you're going to have that with such a long season. You're not going to be able to play your best football every week. But
that's right.
If you can win games and play badly, you are going to be there and thereabouts come the end of the season.
Great habit.
Did. And you know what? Wilder obviously gave him a rocket at half-time because we could have, if it weren't for 2 licks of paint off the bar and the post, would have won that game very comfortably. And if it had been 3-0 at the end of that, nobody had batted an eyelid. They'd have just said,
that's right.
Rubbish first half.
That's right. And
I don't think Swansea caused us many problems at all, really, did they?
No. Like we were saying, I think Jamie noted there that they were up in possession and passing stats, but where are they keeping possession? Where are they passing it to and from? They're not hurting us. And so we're quite happy to let them have it further back. And I didn't think they troubled as much, to be honest. And
no,
one of my mates were there as a neutral. He's a cameraman, actually, and he was saying never in danger last night, never in danger. And it's just nice to have that neutral perspective because we're sat in stands thinking, oh my God, crosses coming in and all this sort of thing. But to the neutral, and I'm sure to the Swansea fans, it never looked like it were going in. So
no, and we've had a couple of very convincing 1-0s as well. Wilder said it, didn't he? He was just like, was it 1-0 to the Arsenal? He said in his post match.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
which I thought was funny. But Watford was very convincing 1-0. Derby, very, very convincing 1-0. Last night, I do still think it was a convincing 1-0, but probably just not as good as what we have been in some of the other games. I
agree.
I think one thing for me is, I think some of our discipline's a bit rubbish at times, and I think we're picking up silly bookings, and I think we need to try and nip that in the bud a little bit. We know that Vinny and Gus are very, very close to being suspended already. And we're picking up 3 or 4 yellows a game, and it just seems an awful lot. And you know what? We want that kind of full-blooded Sheffield United, but some of our bookings are avoidable. Like Gus's, I think all of them could be avoidable. He just kind of
he's daft, isn't he?
He just kind of steps across a man, gets in front of him, shoves him off the ball, yellow card, and it's kind of just we take it. But I think we just need to be a little bit better disciplined at times to just stop some of these silly yellows, because with the squad as thin as it is in places, we're going to need those bodies for as many games as we can. So we've just got to not take any unnecessary bookings and unnecessary risks, because you know what, you would not want to lose Vinny or Gus for the Leeds game, in my opinion, and it could happen. And that's the dilemma that Chrissy Wilder's got now, is going into the Luton game, because you'd want them both to play in that game, but at the same time he's just like, don't do anything daft and get yourself booked. I
mean, the thing is, I'm just looking now as we're talking, and it's Leeds away after Luton, as we all know, but then it's Middlesbrough away game afterwards.
Very tough.
So it's like
very tough.
Very, very tough. So it's like, well, even if they get to the Leeds game, which will be a very competitive and spicy game, you would think, chances are we're going to lose one of them for the following game. So you can't just go on walking a tightrope, I don't think. But the players have to take that responsibility of not picking up unnecessary cards. That's the only thing, really. So are you saying you would go back a bit like Clarky was saying earlier, a bit like a few of us have sort of leaned on? Would you be going back to that sort of traditional 11 that we've seen most of the season now for the Luton game?
I think so. Yeah. Look, I'm not against the squad last night, and when I saw it, the only thing that did surprise me, I must admit, was Shackleton starting for Gilchrist. That was the only one where I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But
were you not surprised that Moore dropping out?
Nope.
All right. Nope. Interesting. I was.
No, I think, I think, and you know what? I'm a big Kiefer Moore fan. As you know, I've advocated for him. And I think I said 3 or 4 games in, please don't start scapegoating Kiefer. I'm a real backer of him. But he has played almost 90 minutes every game. Like, Wild does not sub Kiefer off until fairly late in the day, only the last few games. And you know what? We need to get Campbell match fit. And, you know, we saw him smack an hat-trick in for under 21s, and everybody was screaming, let's get him in starting lineup. So that game time will serve Campbell really well. And he should have scored. We know he should have scored, and he knows that. I thought his post-match was quite good as well. It was quite honest. He's a likable bloke, and I think he will score goals for us. And he knows he should have scored last night. But I still think that we've got options and he can offer it. But yeah, I wasn't surprised to see Moore start on the bench for that game. But I definitely think he'll be back in, because as soon as he came off the bench, it showed difference, what he can offer, which we've seen. And again, I thought for him, what a ball from Burrows, by the way, to play through. Oh my God! And then brilliant to get away from his man.
That's going to be past that game, isn't it? That would definitely the move of the match.
Yeah. I think Moore is. Me and my brother were talking about this. I think Moore is sometimes because he's so big. He's not got any acceleration, but once he gets going and he sort of hits his stride, he's away. And I think he's quite hard to stop. But yeah, I thought it was a great effort and unlucky. And you know, if Brewster would have squared it, we could have had another one. I can kind of see why he wanted to take the shot on, because he wants to score, doesn't he? But I was impressed with Brewster again. He's definitely improving as games go on, but he's got to get a goal, hasn't he? That's the thing for Brewster. We've got to see him get that goal.
He has. Before I let you go then, Scott, this is one I haven't sort of thrown out there tonight yet, and just with your last comment there, would you offer Brewster a new deal?
As it stands, no.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
For me, he's got to at least get into double figures with goals if I was to offer him a contract. At least. It's a big risk if not. And again, I think there is other very good strikers out there that you could try and pick up for a Brewster. But yeah, I really want the kid to do well, but he's got to score for me.
Yeah, his scoring record's been poor, hasn't it? There's no two ways about it. But
Yeah.
Scotty, anything else you want to cover, pal, before I let you go?
No, just the last thing was, whilst we've got one of the best defensive records, I was looking at the table earlier, but whilst we are still not scoring loads, we have got the 4th best goal difference in the league. So it's not as bad as some would seem. And again, I don't think there's the odd result popping up, isn't there? Like Stoke bloody hammering Portsmouth.
Yeah,
Sunderland
it's championship,
have had a couple of big wins, but there's not teams getting, absolutely running away with games week in, week out.
That's
Burnley
right.
only just beat Oxford, didn't they? And it's tight. It's tight, and yeah,
I think it's there for somebody to get. I'm not saying we're going to be the ones to definitely do it, but I think it's there if we can put a run together. This league's there for the taking, so it's exciting
100%.
for me.
100%. Big few games coming up. Luton, Leeds, Borough. See where we are after those 3. But I'll be there.
Just focus on the next one. Are you there at weekend, mate?
Yes, mate. I'm there at the weekend. Yeah.
Nice one. Might see you before then. And if
yes,
not,
hopefully, mate.
I'll speak to you soon. Nice one.
Yeah.
Cheers, Scotty.
Cheers,
see you
mate.
soon, pal.
Cheers. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice one, Scotty. Thank you, pal. Going to get into some more comments, and sorry to those that are still waiting. I will get you on soon, I promise. Mel says, we have a good team with a plethora of talent. It's always good to chat about this and that, but are we really arguing about shades of black? Swansea last night could send a glass eye to sleep. Fair enough. Evening says, Bulgarian Blade Claire. Great to see you all last night, and you. Don't think anyone has had an above average game last night. Thought Burrows deserved man of the match. Yeah, I agree. All is good, says Jimmy Civil. Nice to see a few changes filtering into a 3-game week. Not 100% fluid just yet, which is understandable. Absolutely right. Solid defence, and that's us getting wins. Hamer is getting silly yellow cards. Yes, he is. Claire says, biggest difference for me this season is not feeling worried when opposition enter our box. Michael Cooper simply dominates his area and a pretty solid defence. Huge difference from last season. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Claire. Hope you're well. Good to see you yesterday. If Gus and Vinny get booked on Saturday, both will miss Leeds match. So who's replacing them, says Chris. They can't. I think the danger is that they both get booked into. That's the danger. I think we can do without one of them because I think Blaster's going to be back for Leeds. I've just got a feeling. I don't know for sure. I think mine comes back to being told around the original prognosis time. So that may have changed in his recovery. But I'm expecting Blaster to be back for Leeds. And if he is, then he can play alongside Siddy Peck, and I'm okay. I mean, if Siddy Peck gets through a game without a red name and a yellow against Leeds, then it'll be a miracle. But Siddy and Blaster I'm all right with. I think Brooks can come on and do a job on the left, although obviously I much prefer Gus Hamer. But then it's into Borough and then into a difficult game against Stoke, and you can't focus on anything but the game in front, Chris, I think, at this stage. Danny says, if I can move this bloody mouse. I think defensively, I can't honestly see us conceding many goals this season. We've got pace and power in the back 4. I worry for Blades going forward. Bit toothless on goal. Should be scoring more than 1. Mr. V. Hang on. Let me stop this blooming thing. Mr. V. Very generous. Thank you, pal. This is to buy a pint in Johnny's name. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. We will do that. Very kind of you, Mr. V. Beast Boy says we can tell Brooks is a player. Finishing just wasn't there yesterday, but still trusting him. Up the Blades, I still trust in him, pal. I thought it was just a bit disappointing yesterday. His finishing hasn't been there at all. Never mind just yesterday. That his end product has been a concern. Not a concern, but it's been inconsistent at best. He's obviously not scored for us yet. So, yeah, I were banging the Brooks drum. I'd be surprised to see anything other than Raksaki starting on Saturday. Pete says, one attack we had down the right, he could have squared a pass to Campbell to tap in, 0-2. Instead, shooting with his left, Brooks, I would have settled us early. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Yeah, again, it's decision-making as well, isn't it? Danny says, I think we should switch to 2 up top. Big Kiefer and Hamer just behind. Even switch it to 4-3-2-1 with the left and right defenders pushing up as wing-backs. 4-3-2-1 and then wing-backs. So, don't know if I've got you right there, Danny. On another day, we win 4-0, lads, says Sportsman. We didn't look like conceding. Again, I thought Swansea did okay. I thought they looked after the ball really well and edged first half. Obviously, we go in 1-0 up. And we're all saying at half-time, we don't deserve it. And I certainly were with Eki out selling my dad. Second half, we dominated, I thought, and as you say, should have been 3 or 4. But it wasn't. And some people are concerned at that aspect of it as well, which I understand. Is Blaster back for Leeds game could do with him? I think so, Chris. I think so. But again, if he's not, then mine were only a very early prognosis that I got. Wouldn't mind Brewster and Moore up front and bench O'Hare. I think that's what we should do for Luton. Interesting. Danny says, evening chaps, hope you both well. Both? Yeah, we're all well, mate. I don't know how we're at time. I'm starting tonight by saying we need Goyles. Wasted opportunities to be taken as we're wasting them far too much. Evening says, Gaz, hope you're all well. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Top man, we are, Gaz. Thank you, pal. Hope you are too. Oh, and up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Nice one, Danny. Aaron Long says, the season we finished 9th in the Prem, we scored 14th most goals. This season feels similar. It's a squeaky bum way to get by. This is a really good point, to be fair, Aaron, because somebody else said this to me the other day, and it does give you some perspective. When we finished 9th in the Premier League, we scored some ridiculous, like 36. It wasn't. It might be. I've got it in my head for some reason. We scored something like 36 goals all season in a 38-game season. How did we finish 9th? So it might be higher than that. It's probably not lower than that. But the general principle is you don't need to score loads of goals to win games, do you? You only need to win them 1-0. Like Clarkey says, we'll take them 1-0 to end the season, won't we? If it gets us there. Evening, Jimmy says, Tom, quote, we can't be expected to blow teams away. Norwich did Watford 4. Preston did them 3. Stoke did Portsmouth 6. So why can't we score more than 2? Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. It's because we're being greedy, Tom, I think, mate. I think we're being greedy. I think we can. We've got the ability to, and I think that's what's frustrating people. But we don't need to do it. We don't need to, because all those teams you mentioned are below us in the league. So what good does it do them? It's like Preston had more possession than Swansea had more possession than us yesterday. What good did it do them? No, they lost the game. What's more important to us? Jack says, I understand why they don't pose much of a threat, but like we saw, we posed no threat and was 1-0 up. We also need to remember some teams have strong attacking threats and we need to take our chances. Chef Paul says, TalkSport slagging off Brereton Diaz and Archer this morning. I heard it too. It were Alex Crook, weren't it? As top championship players at best, if only. Maybe a cheeky loan move in January if Southampton look to replace them, or too expensive. They won't let them out. It's like, would we have let them out last season? No, because even though they might be poor by Premier League standards or by these pundits' Premier League standards, they're still best players in Southampton's, or some of the best players in Southampton's squad. Certainly if they're getting close to 11 in Southampton's squad, we're not getting them on loan, are we? Hi, Jimmy. What a difference the 3 players who were dropped were missed make a massive difference. Another thing is O'Hare. The commentator said he was busy. Is that all we are getting from him? Up the Blades, up the Ramble. No, I think he's more than just busy, but I understand what you're saying. Nigel says, evening, Jimmy. Late joining the stream. Dinner the notification. So not sure what I've missed. Yesterday was a dreadful performance by both teams. Brooks looked well off it. Swansea looked good. Passing team, but didn't create much at all. Brewster looked sharp when he came on. The subs made a huge change. Shows how much work Moore does. Yeah, I agree. But definitely needs to start taking his chances. It'd be 6 or 7 goals by now. Yeah, completely agree. Completely agree. Reference once again, which same reference from Wrexham replay. I think that says it all. Also, behave yourself. The longer Campbell, Brewster, and Moore go without goals, the more they will snatch at chances. I swear that post moved last night to deny Moore. Yeah, it looked it, didn't it? It were, yeah, unlucky that. Right, I've got a couple more to read, and then I'm going to get some more callers on. Jack says, I think our discipline isn't the best. These cards can be very problematic. We have our hardest games coming up. I still can't believe somebody had a pop at Shackleton last night. Have they not got enough scapegoats with Moore and Brewster? Fair, yeah. Nah, you can't have a go at Shaq last night. I thought he didn't let us down at all. Up the Blades and up the Ramble, by the way. Thank you, pal. Fantastic to meet you yesterday at Triple Point with the Bulgarian and you, pal. Nice to meet you, pal. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. And Ben says, I'm ruined missing out on Cannon after last night. Not going to lie. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Oh, Paul's putting me right. We scored 39, conceded 39, goal difference none. Finished 9th in the Premier League. There you go. So we scored 1 more goal than the amount of games. So that'd be us scoring 47 all. all year if that were to play out this time. Right, let's get another caller in, and this time it's going to be the man who I think has been waiting the longest, to be fair. So you know him, we all know him and love him. It's Paul the Man Mountain. How's it going, pal?
Good day. How are we all? Everyone well?
We're great, mate. Thank you. Sorry to have kept you waiting so long.
Mate, no problem. It's feast or famine, isn't it? I can't believe how many you've had on tonight, to be honest.
I know, yeah. It's been good calls tonight as well. I've really enjoyed it.
Jack and Clarkey making a debut. When Jack popped up, I thought, who's this wearing his Tony Montana shirt? I thought that looked a bit snazzy. And then I realised he's in Turkey. He can do what he wants in Turkey.
Of course he can.
No, it's good they came on, mate. Good debut.
Yeah, well, I'm pleased. It's good to see him. So yes, what do you want to start with, mate? Where do you want to go first?
Well, I have to agree with our Bulgarian blade, Claire, and on the assessment of Harrison Burrows. I think he is the business, and I don't think he gets the drum banged enough. It took a while for him to get nowhere. Scotty also mentioned him as well. I think he's part of the solution for Kiefer Moore, because we all like Kiefer Moore, but all we talk about at the moment is his hold-up play and his link play and the work he does off the ball. But I think with the type of wide players that we've got, there's not a lot of what shall I say? Is it synergy to say the word?
Oh, nice.
Is it
nice.
Just I always think of David Beckham, and I'm not saying go same as David Beckham. I'm not saying Harrison Burrows is David Beckham, but the one thing, if you speak to like the players that played with him, the one thing they say is when he got the ball, we were there because we knew the ball was going to come.
We knew where it was going to go. Yeah,
exactly. And the man who does that the most is Harrison Burrows in our team. And I think there is a shout because he was the one that crossed the ball, which was a great ball in for the own goal.
A couple of brilliant crosses, weren't there, last night?
Super ball to put Moore through as well. And I think Moore is that kind of striker. If you look at the goals that he scored previously, he scores a lot of headers, an awful lot of headers, because he's a big lad and obviously he's quite athletic. And I think we're suffering a little bit because he never knows what Brooks is going to do. He never knows what Raksaki's going to do. He's not sure what Gus is going to do. Is he going to come in and strike it? Is he going to dink one?
Yeah, he is.
Sometimes floats one in right-footed.
I can tell you, Gus is going to cut in on edge at box and he's going to shoot and try and kill for the far corner.
That's right, yeah. And when he does cross, he cuts in and then he does like this floaty back post effort. It's really hard to generate power from if you're a striker. Yeah. So I just feel like and some people have been calling for the two up top, sort of that narrative's but getting pushed a little bit. If I was going to do that, I put Burrows on left midfield, I put Gussie on right midfield, and I'd say, Kiefer, go and stand on the edge of the box in between the two posts and head us a goal, please. And I'm sure it would happen. I'm sure it would happen. Because if they get it out of their feet and they do it nice and quick, a right foot from the right, a left foot from the left, like the old days, I'm sure he would benefit hugely.
I like where you're going with this because I think Burrows has got progressively better with every game. And I don't think he started... Well, he had his first game, they had a bit of a shaky appearance where he go to the man and it were him and Robinson that collided and the ball went over. Won at first couple of games. He has got
QPR second half when we conceded them 2 goals.
Second goal for the equaliser, weren't it? Yeah. So he has got progressively better and he's now looking quite comfortable where he is, I think. And I know a few of us have spoken about this in the chat and we're big proponents of let's not make any daft decisions with team. Let's it's not broken. We're winning. We're unbeaten. We've had 5 clean sheets. But with what you're saying there about Burrows being our best chance creator, if you like, down the left, our best sort of option as an outlet to provide more with ammunition, do you think it lends itself to maybe even mid-game or even, trying it out in a cup game, 3 at the back and having Burrows as a wing back that bombs on?
It does. But in a league where I feel like we're proving that the 4 is enough. We're proving that now because it's the best defense in the league, and we've conceded 3 goals this season in 8 matches. So why, I'm sure it's an option. We could tinker with it. We could, if we're holding on or we're trying to see a game out. I don't see a problem in going to 5, but stick with the 4. Put Burrows in front of somebody. Could it be RND, McCallum, whichever one you want? Lots of people still think RND has an awful lot to offer us in a defensive position, and that is really the only place that he fits in now with the centre-back pairing that we've uncovered. So go with the 4, put Harrison Burrows on the left, and then go with someone else on the right. I think Gus might be a good option there, simply because of the reasons I've just said. And then you can play your 2 in the middle. And if you had, Vinny, and then you had Arblaster when he's fit, and then you got one, and then you got one off more. That could be anybody. That could be O'Hare, Raksaki, could be Brewster, which a lot of people are calling for. Could be Campbell.
I have to say,
loads of options, Jim. So many.
I mentioned 3 at the back, and there was a very distracting man backstage that, in fact, was shaking his head violently and laughing into his hands. His ear.
Oh.
Dave the Nose, welcome to the call. Sorry that you've gate crashed Man Mountain's call, but I couldn't have that. I couldn't have that level of disrespect. We're offering options.
What are you doing to me?
Why? What? I'm not an advocate of that. What I'm saying is it fits with what Paul was saying, though, that Harrison Burrows, if you'd have put him in our team not last season in Premier League, but in the formation from last season, it works very well in that as well. So as we are looking to be flexible and adaptable, is there a call for it? Clearly not in your eyes.
Can we have a little perspective? Right.
So's Dad.
So, yeah, we were a hair's width off of a post from 2-0. Brooks has 2 chances that arguably he should take. That's 4-0. Let's forget Brewster's effort, Campbell's effort. And we're talking about moving formations. We're talking about let's move this player here, that player here, right? We are, without points deductions, 2nd in the league.
Joint top.
And we're on about making wholesale changes to how we're playing.
We're not, are we? Right? We're not really.
No, I'm not just talking about that one thing. I'm not saying, I'm not blasting anyone who's got, their opinion, because that's what it is all about. But we were so close to the problem last night wasn't, patterns of play or whatnot. Forgetting the first half, we made chances. We just didn't.
You can't forget the first half. The first half showed you that. No, the first half showed you, in my opinion, that some of the squad players aren't quite clicking with our new style of play, and you do need to sort of blend them in and help them, sort of adjust to it. Go on then. Go. All right.
So we went back to what we were playing before, and it was working.
It was, yeah. That's exactly what we did. So for me, it justifies the fact that our starting 11, there's then a step down to the next players in, and I think sometimes you have to consider then: is there a different way of playing to adapt when we're going to change it mid-game, aren't we? Say we play Luton on Saturday. We play the starting 11 we've been used to, that's been doing so well, not the one that we played against Swansea, the one that we've been playing before that. When we need to change it mid-game to improve. How do we do that? Do we stick to the 4-2-3-1? Because it's all right when you've started off with 3 players that aren't necessarily in your best 11, and then you bring on stronger changes. Yeah, you can do that, can't you? And then you're going to look better. What have we got to do when our best 11 is flagging on 60 minutes, 70 minutes, whatever it is, and we need a goal? What we're going to do to mix it up? Are we just going to bring Brewster on for O'Hare in the 10? Are we going to are we going to bring Raksaki off for Brooks? Where do we change it? So we're not advocating, and I'm not scooping Paul up in this either, because I know you weren't saying it either, Paul. We're not saying you need to go to a 3 at the back. What we're saying is we've got the players that can potentially mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we need. I don't think we need anything as drastic as going 3 at the back.
Yeah, but you can do it. You can do it
plays-
mid-game,
nobody
depending on
plays
opposition.
it
We're not. We're talking
Nobody
about
plays it anymore.
We're talking at
It's a
three at the
dead
back's an extreme.
formation.
Three at the back's an extreme. We're talking about people are calling for going 2 up top instead of dropping a 10 in, and stuff like that. Little tweaks. It's not major surgery to squad, is it?
Weren't you on the other day, Paul, and you said these formations in possession and out of possession.
Right.
So it's working on little tweaks to things and little patterns. You look at O'Hare. O'Hare seems to want to have as many touches of the football as he can have. So rather than changing the man, it's changing. Why doesn't he get told? No, when that happens, you bomb on. Don't come automatically follow the ball and come and try and make 1-2s and little triangles. Make a run into the box, mix it up. Why don't we have mixtures of patterns of play rather than wholesale changes to who's going to play?
Well, I think that's
play where.
I think that's the point, though, Dave. Isn't it? I think if you said to Wilder, I don't think it's as much of a case of like when we talk about dropping players. Sometimes you just need a little rest and they need to half an hour instead of an hour and a half.
The whole game,
but also the change of formation. No one can blame a manager if they're 1-0 up for going to 5 across the back when they're in their defensive shape for the last 10 minutes of a game that you want to see out with a 1-0 victory. It's not like, oh God, we've changed our style. It's like we're just trying to keep it tight, and I think that's a different thing altogether. Like what we're talking about is going back to how we played for the last sort of 8-10 years. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
we're not advocating for that.
I think it's like when the game's not going our way potentially, and we're lucky because we've had teams we think, or some people think, have facilitated our transition into a new team quite nicely because we haven't played a lot of the big boys yet. But in those games, there may be a time when we're defending a 1-0 lead or we're behind and we need a goal. And I think that there are different things you can do in game with fresh legs and changing the way that you go about it a little bit. And it's not necessarily all about, again, formations are just great. They look great on paper, but when you're pressing and when you're defending, the teams practice all sorts of shapes, and it's nothing to do with a rigid setup, as you were. What I was saying about the 2 wide men is, I believe with them 2 on the wings, if we want the best out of Moore, if we wanted to see what other teams have seen from him scoring all these goals, he likes wide men to get the ball out of their feet and to deliver, and that's what I've observed from the goals that he scored. And I think Harrison Burrows does a magnificent job at that. I think he's a really good technician of the ball, delivers superb quality. Hamer is exactly the same, can deliver world-class balls at times. And for me, if that's how we're going to play it, if that's what we want to do, I wouldn't object if Wilder said, we're bomb squadding. We need a goal. Stick Suter upstairs with Moore. Put Hamer and Burrows on either flank and go. Do you know what? 10 minutes, try and score us a goal. And teams have been doing it for years. Warnock made a whole bloody
I felt like the context of the conversation is from how we're going to start a game to get better results out of it than we're getting.
It's plan B. It's plan B, really.
Because game management, you changed it. We practically had a back 6 almost at one point last night. I know to Jamie's point of going, with Burrows, but Raksaki had almost become, just in front as a sort of wing back when we were defending deep. So I'm taking it as, why don't we drop O'Hare, we put Hamer in the 10. We do, all these big changes, but at the end of the day, we're picking the results up.
I agree, mate, and I think you've made the best call anyway by saying perspective, haven't you? Because that's what we all need to keep circling back to. We're unbeaten. We're joint top at league if we haven't got a points deduction. I get all of that. We were top. The difficulty is as well that we don't often focus on is we don't know these players that well yet.
Yeah.
So we don't know, like, will Callum O'Hare do a decent job on the left? Is Raksaki only going to be able to play on the right wing, or is a left footer? Could he go left wing maybe and cross some in with his left rather than just always cut inside on his left from the right hand side? You know, where's Shackleton best utilised? Could he sit in front of the back four when we're defending maybe rather than he has to come on as a legit right back? We don't know. So that's why a lot of us are speculating as to where people could play. Like Paul saying, Burrows can, we've seen him a little bit further forward. We've seen him very briefly in a couple of games, 10 minutes here or there, play on as a left forward, if you like, or a high left winger. But he's doing great, supplying us from left back. So it's getting used to the new players, isn't it, as well, I think, and them getting used to us and each other. So the fact that we're still picking up results while the team's still gelling and fans are sort of anticipating what we're going to get out of these boys, it's still, I mean, it's best case scenario, isn't it, really? Because we didn't play well first half. I thought we were shocking, to be honest, first half yesterday.
Well, I thought Swansea were decent first half, and not that they were. Again, nobody's opening us up in the new setup, which is great. But Swansea reminded me of the Swansea the stereotype Swansea that I've got to know. Great in possession, play really, really smart football, can dominate possession and dominate matches, but they are a bit toothless. And when the only time they ever got that bit right was with what was his name, Michu and Bolly. No, it was Bolly years ago. Michu and Bolly.
Nice too.
Yeah. Very good. But the only time they really got that was when they got that combination up top, right, weren't it? But they've always played really nice stuff. And when you give them time in possession, and like you say, you made a couple of changes, we did look really, really, really ring rusty in the first half. But did I feel like that we were going to get turned? Like your mate, the cameraman, said, with Cooper in goal, I just never felt like I just never feel like we're in loads and loads of danger. And anything bombed in, we feel like we've got the aerial presence. There is a rick in there, and Pert Harris needs to be shot slightly for what he did. He needs to score. If he wants to come over on loan and get a game for Swansea in his first start, whatever it was, he's got to take that chance. I thought the goalkeeper was good, but I also thought Brooks was really obvious with his finishing. I thought he opened his body up, showed the goalie where he wanted to put it, and he allowed him to make that save. And Vigouroux, they said in the pre-match that he had the highest save percentage. So he's a really, really good shot stopper, Vigouroux, of any goalkeeper in the leagues. He's really, really strong in that aspect. But yeah, I thought that he was decent. I think we've got to get the ball into Kiefer Moore quicker. You know, we've seen him with black eyes and getting booted in the head and wearing his Terry Butcher around his head and all that magic. So give him the bloody chance to do it. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to see him score an header for us, because we need to make sure that becomes part of our armoury, because that is what he brings to the table. And I really think there's a lot to offer there that we're not seeing yet. I know Wilder, I could see Wilder because the camera kept panning to him. He was going like, get the ball up. I think that the part of Swansea's problem, and I think a lot of teams' problem is, they've got to be able to do both things. They've got to keep the ball and play and go down one avenue and go down the left, the right, whatever. But they've got to go from direct at times, because the defenders have got to think you're going to play that ball at some point to make sure that they drop off. And there's loads of things that they should have done better in the first half. But the one bit of quality was from Harrison Burrows. And in the second half, he provided that bit of quality where Moore should have scored. I mean, when you see the replay of it, he sent a goal, he opens his body, it's a reasonable effort at a finish. He's got to score, really, for me. And I don't dig him out often, but he should have scored that chance. Also, people shouting about Brewster. Yes, very energetic, but his decision-making, and I've said it 100 times, he should be square. Like, if he plays through, Jez Raksaki has got a one-on-one on the angle to finish, and he opts for a 25-yard blast.
Rocket.
And great. If it goes in, you go, oh, fair enough. But actually, that was the wrong decision. And his decision-making, Jimmy, that is the worst part of him. He's got all the attributes to be a good player. He has not got a football brain. It is a joke.
I just think he's desperate to score, isn't he? He's desperate to get that goal, that monkey off his back.
He's got to play that ball. He's got to play.
I know he has.
If Jez was an older, more experienced pro, he'd have been over to him like that with his finger out, because it was guilty. He was guilty there. He's got to play the right pass. If he's going to play in that position for us, he's going to score goals. I remember he's been doing it for years, mate, and I just can't get along with it. I think his football brain is somewhere over here. I seldom see him make a good decision on a football pitch.
I'll apologise to Ian on your behalf for that.
Well, you can. Again, I'm with Ian, mate. I would love him to show some of the form
we all
he
would, mate.
for England. But he just makes one wrong decision after another on the football pitch. I can't get on with it.
I'm going to have to start wrapping us up. I'm not going to let you go though. We're going to shift into a bit of a Luton preview very quickly before we go, if you're still all right. But we're going to get a Ramble rundown first from the Luton side.
Hi Jimmy, this is Ollie from the OK Football Show. I hope you're doing well, mate. So here's a little rundown on Luton Town. It started off well enough, highly rated Ruel Walters, who was offered a new contract to Arsenal. He looks like a great piece of business, and at only 19 years of age, he looks like he could go on to play at the top level. I'd say the highlight of our summer business, which actually came after the window closed, probably Victor Moses joining on a free transfer. Even at 33, he's shown that he's still got that searing pace that saw him dominate that right flank for Chelsea and win so many trophies. And it was experience that we kind of needed, because we lost Gio Ogbene, we lost Andros Townsend, we needed to replace some other ones that have come in. Shandon Baptiste, he's looked good, other than when he's picked up an injury. He's been out for a couple of weeks now. Liam Walsh looks a very handy piece of business. He's a bit of a metronome in the middle of the park.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Tom Krause, who no doubt you'll see, he's our loan signing from Mainz. Very exotic for us, and actually the first German Luton Town have had play for them. He has the good graces from getting us promoted. This season, the mood has kind of changed. You have the die-hard fans that will keep backing him, but the reality is he got us promoted using Nathan Jones's tactics, just a couple of tweaks here and there. There's a thought that he's rather tactically inflexible. He's wedded to a 3-4-3 formation that really doesn't work. It leaves us exposed in the middle of the park. He's sort of just continually beating the drum of this formation that isn't working. He's a lovely guy, but it was always thought that this was the season where he makes his mark. It's make or break. Coming down, he has the squad that he wants. So the reality is, sink like a stone or fly right now. 3-4-3 with a box in the middle, so that's two defensive midfielders and then two central midfielders ahead of them. It leaves our forward very isolated. Fans are crying out for it to change, because right now the results aren't going our way. We could take the results not going our way if the performances were at least there, but the performances just are not there. So yeah, it's going to be a 3-4-3. I can say that with some conviction.
Ooh, that's interesting.
100% be Alfie Doughty. Takes all our set pieces. 8 assists last season, 2 goals in the Premier League. He signed a new long-term deal, so hopefully if people do come sniffing, his value is protected. I'd say Elijah Adebayo is quite a threat, because on his day, as you saw at Bramall Lane in the promotion season, he can be very dangerous, like the way he just went through John Fleck.
Boring.
It's not a person in particular. I'd say it's the midfield in general, though. Playing a 2-man midfield, if we come up against anyone that's playing a 3-man midfield, we're exposed. Simple as. There's space through the middle of the park. We've seen so many goals where a counter-attack that just goes straight through the middle or across into the box that is sent to sort of the D, and there's space. There's the attacking player just has the freedom of the box to sort of pick a corner, take a touch, take a shot. So I wouldn't say we have a weak link. I'd say it's the midfield in general that's weak at the moment, and that's one of the things that we need to address with the formation change. Sheffield United, for all your riches, all the players that you signed, you know, you got Kiefer Moore up front, you've got Gustavo Hamer, Callum O'Hare. You're struggling to hit the back of the net. That final pass, that final third just isn't working for you at the moment. And just like us, it's impossible to predict the Championship. It might be an absolute crazy game, 5-4 or something like that. You know, with both teams finding their shooting boots and those final passes. I think it'll be edgy. But both teams like looking for that really good performance now, especially Luton away from home as well. I'm excited for it. I just don't know if Luton will turn up, but I hope we do. It's about time that we turned up for a game. I said the score prediction before, like maybe 5-4. I think it's more likely to be a 0-0 than a 5-4. So I'll go optimistic. I'm going to say 1-1. How about that? You can find us on Twitter at OK Football Show. Also, we're on YouTube. YouTube's going great guns. We do Championship as well as Luton Town content. That's also at OK Football Show. Check it out. We're not so complimentary on Sheffield United at the moment. I've been saying Chris Wilder's the only thing holding you back, really, because on paper, the Blades have a great team, and I think they should be doing better. You shouldn't be relying on sweaty Gustavo Hamer free kicks to bail you out against teams. Just saying.
I'm sure that won't be the case if you've tracked my career.
I reckon Sheffield United will be in and around the playoffs come the end of the season, most definitely. For Luton, I went an optimistic 5th place finish for Luton, but a lot's got to change. We've got to change formation. We've got to change our attitude on the pitch. So I'd say maybe mid-table, upper mid-table for Luton, but there's a lot of room for improvement for us. But Jimmy, thanks for having me on. Good luck to Sheffield United for the rest of the season after this game at Bramall Lane, and all the best, mate.
Top man, Ollie. Top man from the OK Football Show. I was laughing myself watching that back. Well, I know we've gone long, and I apologise to everybody. I hope you're all still awake and with us. And it's not.
Have you got a new editing kit, Jim? You got a new little toy of you?
I'm not the best editor, as you know, but I do enjoy putting those together. So I genuinely think they're interesting in terms of finding out what the Oppo is going to do. So I like doing a little bit of that. We're supposed to do a preview, and all I do is talk about Sheffield United. Don't talk about the opposition at all. So appreciated you doing a bit of homework last time, Paul, because we didn't have any opposition coming on to let us know about Swansea. And I'd spent a bit of time doing that. So I do enjoy doing it.
I think you were right about the low-scoring game, because I think their goalkeeper Kaminski is a good goalkeeper. I think I've said that before. I think he is very good, and I think what he said about Adebayo and Morris are obviously a bit of a threat up top. You've also got Doughty, who I do like, very similar to Burrows in many ways. I think he's for me, he's my favourite player they've got in their team. But yeah, like you say, I think Ross Barkley leaves a bit of a hole for them in the centre.
Yeah.
He's getting a bit salty. He never used to do that, Ollie, in terms of Chris Wilder's holding you back there. I was like, okay.
Just saying. All right, mate. All right.
We'll see. Yeah, 1-1. I like the way he tagged it as optimistic for the 1-1, because I think they'll be very lucky to get out of Bramall Lane with a point.
Do you really? I love your confidence this season, mate. I really do. It's infectious, to be honest.
Hey, even when we're playing poorly, everyone's bleating about the performance. We still could have won 3-0 the other night, and no one would have batted an eyelid, not on a single eyelid, because we do not look like conceding goals. So as long as you're not conceding, pal, you're in every single match.
Bang on, Dave. How do you see game going?
very similar, Ty. But like, I've got in the background, I've got Man United on, and I've watched them throw a 2-0 lead away with some of the worst defending you've ever seen.
Really?
We just, unbelievably bad.
Is it Desmond?
And we just don't look like letting goals in. I thought Anel was outstanding last night.
I thought he did really well. I think he looks so confident now next to Arisuta, bringing it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top player.
We did have that Keystone Cops moment, though, didn't we? Where we tried to hook it over our heads about 3 times. And
Yeah.
I was like, what?
That was dodge, weren't it?
You're always going to have moments like that, aren't you? Where you get, heart rate rises and blood pressure's up, and it's about how you calm it down afterwards. We can't. Yeah. We're a championship side with championship players. You can't, even Premier League teams make mistakes, and
just doesn't suit the narrative of us being the wall, though, Dave. That's the problem. We're the wall now. No one can score, and just watching 3 of them do it one after the other, I thought that's very Sheffield United this season.
They didn't score, did they? So
no, they didn't.
On we go.
Well, the other thing I have to say as well,
right.
And I don't know if just one more thing, last thing. The crowd was so quiet, Jim. From where I was listening, it was so quiet. And on the 50 minutes, that was the loudest the crowd were all evening. And
it felt a bit nervy in the ground, I thought, last night.
Which is a real surprise. It shouldn't be, should it?
It shouldn't, but we weren't controlling the game. Up until after the 50th minute, you could say second half, but I think after the sort of the crowd were up and things like that, we took control of the game, and it became a much cleaner performance in the end. But we're still hanging on at end, and it's like you say, it could have been 3 or 4, and we have gone over that. But I'm going to get some comments on before we finish. Brooks is struggling to hit a barn door. I like when he had a Sula. We'll be taking a strong bid in January, like 15 to 20 million for Brooks, and Wilder to reinvest it. We're not talking about selling any of us men now, are we? What's your thoughts on that option, lads? Sell Brooks if we get 15 to 20 million? I don't think we're getting that sort of offer, by the way.
His end product's got to be better for that kind of wedge.
You'd say the same way as Sula, who hasn't scored either, wouldn't you? But anyway, it's one of them.
Yeah, but
I know, mate. Osula were a freak bid. I don't know where we got that sort of money from. Same number of points now than the whole of last season, says Chris. Wow. They're the perspective comments, aren't they? I'll take 1-0 win every game. Thanks. And be promoted by Crimbo. Hi, Jim. If United go 2 down in a game, are you confident that United can score twice to get a draw? Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. No, but Paul, I will see your 2-0 scoreline for the opposition and raise you our defence. So I don't fear that we're going to go 2 down at the minute. It's whether we can. It's always whether you can outscore the opponent, obviously. But I think we start from a point at the moment, if that makes sense. I know what I'm trying to say. We always start from, I'm confident we've got a point this game because I don't think we're going to concede. Can we score? That is the question I think we're focusing on now. Fragrant Blade bringing the sense, says Ian. There you go. You've got a fan in here, Dave. When does the change in formation come into question, says Turkey Jack?
When we're not
Dave?
winning.
Yeah, fair. Or when we're hanging on for game management.
Or when we're in-game management, but I think in general when we're not getting results.
It's not negative, says Lee, to say the system doesn't work. When we play some better teams, we won't get the wins. I hate to say it, but my prediction about Moore at the start of the season seems to be right. I can't remember what your prediction was, Lee, to be fair. Maybe he won't get the 9 to 10 goals I predicted. I think he will. I think he'll get 15, to be honest. I think right now we're not flexible enough with the formation, says Jack. Lee says, I'm surprised about the opinions on Brooks. Thought, though all were sloppy in the first half, I felt Brooks has grabbed the game by the neck after half time. And a second was just a matter of time before Wilder took him off. I didn't see that. I thought Brooks was one of our poorer performers in the first half, if I'm honest. Always going backwards. Looked quite like he lacked a bit of confidence in the final third. Didn't want to take his man on. and he's can't hit a barn door, like has been said before. We're all hoping he does soon, and they start to go. But I think for me, Lee, I think you're one of the poorer performers in the first, and we're certainly not writing him off. That's not what we're saying at all. But I've been clamouring for Brooks, and sometimes you have to say when he's been given his chance yesterday, I don't think he took it. Go on, Paul.
The only thing I would say about Brooks in that game, obviously in the first half when he played it out of play, when he had that really good chance to cross or shoot, and he tried to play Shackleton in, that knocked him off a little bit, you could tell. But the one thing I did like is in the second half, he had a chance on his left foot where he opened his body, and then he'd cut back onto his right for the second chance, and then he's just stabbed it straight at the goalie. That's good because people need to believe that you can go both ways. And I think that's where Jez is lacking a little bit at the moment. And he did create that chance because he was willing to go on that weaker foot. But he should have finished at least one, possibly both of those, for me.
Agree. Lee says we've got championship players, not elite players, so you have to play to our strength, and that's two up front. Nigel totally agrees with Dave. O'Hare needs to run into the box. If so, he'll win many penalties. If you're the opposition manager, you mark more out of the game than our goal threat is null, and then we have to rely on a special free kick, etc. It's just about percentages. I disagree, to be honest, Lee, because I think Moore's not been our goal outlet. That's been what half of the conversation's been about. It's how we get a consistent goal threat going and take advantage of that. But I don't think Moore's been our outlet for goals, personally. 3 centre-backs in possession, box midfield, says Fairfield, Burrows on the left wing and Raksaki on the right. More up top in possession. 4-2-3-1 out of possession. Surely that solves our issues. Hamer and O'Hare can both play 10. Yeah, but potentially, yeah. He hasn't a clue. He doesn't even know how to decide about predicted score. Said about 5 different scores. Who's that? I don't know who Nigel's talking about there, to be fair. Ian says, I'll forgive you, Paul, but expect a full retraction and apology when Brewster starts bagging.
I'll do it, Ian. No problem. If he does.
This is a fair question. If Kiefer gets injured, who plays that role? Can we still go one up front and be effective? Not as effective. I don't think anybody quite plays it as well as him, which is a concern that we've had into it, that the lack of depth. And Chef Paul finishes off tonight by saying that Premier League points tally comment was sobering. Let's enjoy winning for a change. Well said. Well said. Oh, Nigel on about Ollie. So I thought, when he's saying he ain't got a clue, I thought Nigel having a pop at one of us there. And I was about to get a little bit defensive. But we're on about Ollie. Yeah, fair play, pal. Yeah, but well said, Paul. Enjoy winning for a change. We should. And that's what Dave's come on. I know you're looking a little bit grumpy, Dave, but you are enjoying winning, aren't you?
I've got to be Mardy, haven't I? One of us has to be to
keep to the brand. You've got to do it, yeah. Got to be on brand. Right,
what
boys.
time are we meeting on Saturday then, chaps? We're all meeting everybody before.
Yes, we'll be meeting at Triple Point well before game, probably on a Saturday, isn't it? So we can get down to the van zone. We'll firm up details so we're not flooding everybody. We'll firm up details off air if you like. But if anybody wants to see us at Triple Point, you'll see us at some point down there. So thanks again for joining me, boys. Very much appreciated as always. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards.
On the blade!